Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Joker Folie à Deux, the sequel to Joker, an absolutely breakout smash hit success for Warner Brothers and DC, but it's not without its current issues. So, earlier this month, there were reports and actual legitimate filings with the Screen Actors Guild, official complaints that essentially extras had not been given their appropriate times to go to the bathroom. Just break time, basically break time violations, along with water breaks as well. Now, this obviously caused mild controversy, nothing major, and the first one was no stranger to controversies either. In fact, in the first film, people were essentially locked in a subway car for over 3 hours and began peeing on the tracks. So Joker Folie à Deux seems to be following in that trend. Now, one of the main elements of this film is, of course, the inclusion of Harley Quinn. And we had our first look at Harley Quinn, played by Lady Gaga, in an Instagram post by Todd Phillips. It's an interesting one. He posted it on Valentine's Day with the attachment comment basically stating Happy Valentine's Day. And the image itself, it's fine. I mean, it's literally just Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix in full Joker makeup. Obviously not Harley Quinn, but Joaquin Phoenix was in full Joker makeup, which does add some interesting elements for queries and theories. Is this currently being staged in her head? Is this currently in the Joker's head? Because, of course, Arthur Fleck in the first film did experience some delusional aspects which really rounded out the story and led to the narrative continuing down the path that it did, and, of course, his eventual snap. Now, one thing which is, again, an element of controversy for this film is that the soundtrack is said to be heavily inspired by Liza Minnelli musicals, and that this will indeed apparently be a musical. Now, that has obviously pissed off quite a lot of people. People don't like that element in any way, shape or form. But I do think that if you're looking at the name, you look at the first film, music played a large part of the first film. It was a very important character in and unto itself. And I think if you're looking at Joker, the title Folie à Deux, it's madness for two, and that essential auditory madness bleeding over into these sort of fantastical scenes with Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn and Arthur Fleck's Joker, I could see how that would work. And in fairness, in Todd Phillips, I genuinely do trust. I think he has earned people's trust with the wealth of films he's created, and they've all been, as far as my knowledge, very good thus far. Now, in terms of what songs will be playing in that film, or whether there's any elements that Lady Gaga will probably be singing them, it's likely Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn will be singing them. But we do hear that the soundtrack itself will be heavily inspired by classic Liza Minnelli musicals such as Cabaret, New York, New York, and That's Entertainment. So interesting. Now, Lady Gaga is actually a big Liza Minnelli fan, so I would imagine that she will be singing and also writing those songs if they are originals. So that takes us on to the current news. And what is the current news, ladies and gentlemen? Well, the current news that dropped literally, well, at the time of recording this, an hour ago, is that Joker Folie à Deux is rumoured to make a big change to Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn. Now, spoilers for this. Big spoilers with this. Potential, anyway. So there's some interesting news about Joker Folie à Deux, and the rumours reveal that Todd Phillips is looking to make big changes to Harley Quinn's relationship with Arthur Fleck. And this will likely surprise people. So, this obviously leads on from 2019's Joker and the very unique origin story or interpretation of the Clown Prince of Crime. Now, a lot of people obviously really liked that. They thought it was absolutely fantastic. absolutely fantastic. So, what will we be seeing with Dr. Harley Quinn? Well, originally she was a psychiatrist in Arkham Asylum who fell under the Joker's spell while attempting to treat him. Now, she's actually the first, and I think one of, if not the only character that was created in a animated series or animated format, which then began a long trend of comic books. So, what have we got now? Well, Scooper Casey Walsh, so take this with a pinch of salt, is claiming that Joker Folie Deux will put a new spin on the character of Harley Quinn. Rather than treating Arthur, she's also going to be a patient. Ah, yes. She will be a patient within Arkham Asylum. Which is interesting. Does this make more sense than a doctor falling in love with her patients? Potentially, potentially not as well. It's dependent on how you look at things. Now, obviously, that element did work in a comic book element, but Arthur is just essentially a guy that went on a bizarre rampage and murdered a talk show host in front of everyone whilst wearing face paint. So, this is surprising, but not an overall surprise that this is an element that they would go down. So having an unhinged fellow patient does make a lot more sense. Now, just as an FYI, there was essentially a question posed to Casey Walsh, and it suggested that the Joker sequel would end with Arthur and Harley getting out of Arkham together. And Walsh responded, not quite. So I would imagine that this is just them essentially staying in Arkham Asylum and their madness enveloping one another. What do you guys think of this? Think this is good? Do you think this is bad? The departure from the lore and canon, you know, it works with Joker. Does it work with Harley Quinn? I guess that's the question I'm posing you. From my opinion, personally, because you've already gone so far and wide from the Joker's origin story, I think if you are then navigating characters around him, it is acceptable that they would then be different as well, because you have fundamentally changed the character at that point. You know, this is not the Joker from the comics. We do know that this is a completely different Joker. It's a completely different universe. So some of these artistic licenses I feel are warranted here and there. But let me know what you guys think down below. I'd love to hear any and all of your thoughts. Cheers, ladies and gents. Take care.